Day 51. So today I've still been slightly anxious about things and not feeling like I'm firing on all cylinders because I'm overthinking things, because that anxiety brings with it some paranoia and some caution. But certainly what I went through yesterday isn't something I can really feel like I've been through before, because I've never really experienced isolated anxiety in that way. And I think that's partially because historically when I've had that going on in my head, I've also had the suicidal thoughts going on and the darkness going on, and it all compounds into this kind of cacophony of noise, and so picking out individual items is quite difficult. So if I were to stand in the middle of an orchestra next to a trumpet player and all of the orchestra are playing full volume, because I'm acclimatized to the volume and numbed slightly to it, when the trumpeter starts playing, I don't necessarily hear the trumpeter clearly through the rest of the orchestra. And when I had so many different complexions going on in my head throughout the last 10 years, whether that is feeling suicidal or really not being able to cope with the things that are going on, when I have had anxiety episodes, it's not felt like an anxiety episode, it's just one more thing that affects how I feel and how I act. And because it's difficult to pick out individual sounds or isolated ups and downs, it's difficult to see any sort of progress, because any movement that does happen you don't really notice. And so for me, just over years and years, it just gradually got worse and worse and worse, and that noise built up to a point where I was so low and didn't realise how I got there, because it happened so steadily, that the low world that I was living in was just my normal world and what I expected. When comparatively now that a lot of that noise has gone away and that band's not playing, I can see how much of a distorted way of living it was. But because that band's not playing now, with the anxiety thing that happened yesterday, because that trumpeter started playing in what was previously silent, suddenly my reaction to it was so much sharper and so much stronger. And so when it did hit, it hit really hard. And I don't know whether that kind of came in response to dreaming. I don't know whether my brain was kind of working through the day trying to encode information in a way that makes sense to me. So it would have taken information and experience throughout the day and combined it with the stuff that's stored in my brain through my mental crusher to create some sort of story that would make sense and then get stored. And I suppose if there's stuff that's in there that's unresolved and my brain's still trying to work through, it would probably take the opportunity to add the unresolved longer term history that's in there with the new information to see if it can resolve some of the longer term history. And I suppose the combination of those two elements put together, whilst trying to create some sort of sensical story so that my brain can remember it more clearly, would lead to nightmares and bad dreams, but also keep whatever that unresolved thing from the past is in my active life, and that's in my subconscious while I'm asleep, but of course that's going to stay in my subconscious throughout the day, and that might be something that causes some of the anxiety and might be why I can't identify what it is that's affecting me. And I think to a degree, because I've been so open throughout this journey, I've been able to resolve a lot of the things that I had unresolved from the past, whether that's stuff that happened to me that I can come to terms with just by talking about and facing, yes, that happened, but it's an incident in the past that I can't change, and allowing it just to be part of my story in life, or whether it's something that I carry because I feel guilty about something that I've done, that actually facing it allows me to want to try and change it and make it better. And that means not letting any sort of feelings of guilt drive that change. It means letting the person that I want to be drive the change from the mistakes that I've made in the past. I've had a few thank you messages and messages of positivity about yesterday's video about the anxiety. So thank you for getting in touch, and share, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.